See, when you find that x, that may not be the answer to your question. You had to find x because Paul is 2x plus 6. You got to know what x is before you know what 2x plus 6 is, so we had to go find x. That's why you have to have it labeled. Because on a multiple choice test, they probably would have 9 as one of the choices. Because people would work out and find out that x is 9, and they're going to put that down as their answer when that wasn't the question. It's 9 if they ask you how many hours Jerry worked, because Jerry's the only one that's x, you see.
Right.
That's how many Jerry worked. But Jeff worked 18 hours. He worked 2 times what Jerry worked. And Paul worked 2 times what Jerry worked plus 6 more. All contingent on that x. And you can find that just by writing as you read it. Let's do these last people here. The Millers and the Rigbys and somebody. The Smiths.
The Rigbys and the Smiths.
See how many times I've done that problem? I know the people like they're my own family. Okay, you got the Millers, the Rigbys, and the Smiths. Okay. What do they tell us about us?
They went on the camping trip. The Millers
Okay.
spent $100 more than the Rigbys. And
Okay,
the Smiths.
wait.
Oh,
One at a time.
Awesome.
It says the Millers spent $100 more than the Rigbys,
So Rigbys is X.
so Rigbys is X. And the Millers is what?
X plus 100.
X plus 100. Okay.
And the
What do the Smiths do?
Smiths spend twice as much as the Millers.
Twice as much as the Millers. Now watch this. It's not just 2x. It's 2 times the quantity x plus 100. See, they spend 2x's. They also spend 2 times that 100 too.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? If you just put 2x plus 100, you're going to be wrong because they didn't just spend 2 times more than the Rigbys plus 100. They spent 2 times more than the Millers. And the Millers spent x plus 100.
Oh, I see.
So it's 2 times the quantity x plus 100, which makes a difference.
Yeah, you're right about
Because we learned that you have to come out of that parentheses, you have to multiply the 2 times everything in there. We talked about that last week. Anytime you have parentheses and with the order of operations, you got to bring it out of parentheses. So let's bring it out. 2 times x is 2x
2x
plus
200.
plus 200. So this is what the Smiths actually spent. Twice as much as the Millers. Plus 200. Yeah, that's the Smiths. And people would get confused there and just put 2x plus 100. That wouldn't be twice as much as the Millers. Because the Millers spent x plus 100, so they spent 2x's plus 100. You put that down twice, you'd have 2x plus 200. Okay? Everybody follow that? Even if I add them together, x plus 100 plus x plus 100, you see, that's 2 of them. I can add these numbers together, and I can add these, yeah, so they spent 2x plus 200, okay. And how much they spent altogether?
580.
$580, okay. So I know that the Smiths plus the Millers plus the Rigbys altogether spent $580, right?
4x plus 100.
So I got the Millers plus the Rigbys plus the Smiths, all added up to $580. See, no math, just changing the words into these numbers, the letters. So now I'm going to get my x's together. I got an x there and another x gives me how many? 2 x's plus 2 more?
4.
I got 4 x's, right?
Plus
Plus I got 100 there
300.
and 200 there. I got what?
4x
300.
plus 300.
4x plus 300 now equals 580. So now I can ask myself right there. Now you could go on and do it your way, Deborah, and subtract 300 from each side, then divide by 4. Or I can say, what plus 300 would give me 580? What would I have to have over here?
280.
Have to be 280, right? So I know that 4 times some number had to give me this 280.
So 4 divided by 280.
280 divided by 4. 70. this x has to be 70. So that when I multiply it by 4, I get 280, and add it to 300, I get 580. Or like I said, if you do it the way the book, I would subtract 300 from each side. That will be 4 times some number equals your 280. And then I divide each side by 4, and I have my x equals 70. Same way, either way. So now the question is what though? Who spent 70? Just the Rigbys, right? How much did the Miller spend? 170, right? And how much did the Smith spend?
240.
How much?
240.
340.
340.
And when I add the Millers, the Rigbys, and the Smiths together, there's the 580 they spent.
So it's Smith spent 340.
Just step by step. Didn't get that one? Where'd you lose out on that one?
I'm gonna just try
Look at it again.
tomorrow.
But you see how we did it though? We knew that it said altogether, they spent 580. We know there were 3 of them. There were the Millers, the Rigbys, and the Smiths. It said that the Millers spent $100 more than the Rigbys. That let me know that the Rigbys are X. The Millers then are X plus 100 more. It said that the Smiths spent twice as much as the Millers. So X plus 100 plus another X plus 100, right? Which gave me 2X plus 200. That's what
Got a
the
whole 100.
Smiths spent. So now I'm going to add them all together. Here are the Millers, right? Plus the Rigbys. Plus the Smiths. I didn't change anything. I just put exactly what I said they are going to be now. Right? And when I add them all together, it said I'm going to get $580 that they spent. Okay? Now I got to gather the things together that are the same. That's called simplifying the expression. I can add x's and x's. Gave me 4 x's altogether. I can add numbers, whole numbers, and numbers. That gave me 300. So now instead of this whole long line, it boils down to 4 x's plus 300 equal the 580. So now it boils down to what this says is that 4 times some number plus 300 gives me 580. Now, because in math I know that is exact, I can say, what does this have to be that when I add it to 300, I'm going to get 580? Well, it's got to be 280. Because 280 is the only thing that I can add to 300 and come up with 580, right? So that means that all of this has to equal 280. And this says that this is 4 times some number. So I need to know what times 4 is going to give me that 280 that I need. And I figured that it's 70. So 70 has to be the value of x. So I go back and say, well, who's x? The Rigbys were x. So the Rigbys spent the $70. It told me that the Miller spent what the Rigby spent, which is 70, plus 100 more. So they spent $170. That's what the words told me in the first place. And it told me that the Smiths spent twice as much as the Millers, which is 2 times 170. That's 340. And it said when I add them all together, what the Millers spent, what the Rigby spent, and what the Smiths spent, I should come up with that 580, and I did. So I know that I did find the correct value of x, because it worked in the equation. But it's just changing the words to the symbols and numbers first, and then doing what the problem says they're doing. But just substituting these things now, anytime they say Millers, I'm going to write x plus 100. because that's the Miller's name now. Anytime they say Rigby's, I'm gonna put X. That's who the Rigby's are represented by. Anytime they say Smith's, I'm gonna say 2X plus 200. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then once you get it all like that, then you can do something with it, because now you have letters and you have numbers. And you can boil it down to where you can figure out what that letter has to be based on what the numbers are. That's when you can solve the word problem, because you boiled it down to numbers. Now you have changed Rigby into X. And I can solve for X. Because the Rigby's didn't spend X, and then the Miller spent Y. The Miller still spent X too, but plus another 100. So I can still find X and figure out the Miller's just by adding X to that 100. You see what I'm saying? The Smiths didn't spend Z a whole nothing different. No, they spent twice as much as the Millers, and I know X is already in the Millers, so I can still use that all of that to figure out what all of them spent. Okay? We got time for one more. I want to go down to number 9. I like that note. All together, which tells us again we're going to be adding stuff up, right? You got Tim, Laura, and Eric. I put TL and E. All together, that means that when you added Tim plus Laura plus Eric, you ended up with 210 hours campaigning for their friend Jake, who was running for the Senate. So now here we go.